Hi everybody, Jill from Thurso Grows here. Just a wee go get gardening slot for our Friday night. First of all, a wee apology for last week. A little bit under the weather last week, so we didn't do a video last week, but back again, fighting fit, all good. Thought we'd continue just a little bit on our pests and things. We've had a wee look at aphids, we've had a wee look at cabbage, large white cabbage butterfly, and I thought we'd have a wee quick look at vine weevils as well, because there's one or two folk actually been talking to me a wee bit about damage on leaves and stuff like that, which I'll show you in a wee minute. So this is quite common at this time of year as well, so I thought we would have a little look at the vine weevil. What you'll get is a beetle with kind of green stripes down its back. Now they're predominantly females, they're almost always females actually, there doesn't seem to be an awful lot of males in this. Not quite sure how that works, but never mind. But you'll see them on sort of woodland plantings, and usually sort of rhododendron bushes, that type of thing as well. You see a lot of the leaf damage on. Quite pretty beetles actually to look at, but they can do an awful lot of damage. And they come out usually at night time, so one of the ways of getting rid of them is actually coming out at night and just sitting watching for them with a torch, and just picking them off your plants. Because generally speaking, what these guys will do, your females will lay lots and lots of eggs underground in your compost, usually in spring to summer, so they keep going, they don't stop, okay? So basically all the stages that you get of the life cycle, whether it's an adult, whether it's egg form, whether it's larvae stage, or whether it's pupating over winter, because they're laying from the spring right through the summer, you can get all stages of the life cycle going on all at once, okay, all at the same time. So yeah, they can be pretty persistent things. So they lay a lot of eggs underground, okay, and that's mostly in the spring and the summer. The greatest populations you'll see, however, are in late summer and early autumn, and then you'll get another peak in those numbers the following spring, okay, so you can get an awful lot of these hanging about. Host plants that we've got down here, cyclamens, begonias if you've got them in greenhouses, primulas, strawberries, young conifers, and any sort of vine, anything that would be classed as an outdoor vine, okay. So once they've laid their eggs, in the spring and the summer, what you then get is these legless larvae. So they're horrible looking things, they look like giant maggots. These are the grubs, and those will infest herbaceous plants. So anything you've got in your border that comes back year upon year, it starts to grow one year and then all of a sudden starts to fail. You go and have a look at it, you touch it and the plant falls over, and what happened is it's these little guys munching the roots, and you don't get any other symptom at all other than one day the plant's fine, the next day you go and look at it, your plant's keeled over. And you can literally just pull it right out the ground, there's no resistance there at all, and you'll discover that it has absolutely no roots left, okay? So these wee guys will then pupate for about 3 months, and this is where you see the staggered development happening as well. And then they overwinter, and then they emerge again the following spring to reinfest and do the whole cycle again, okay? So what sort of signs are you looking for? Well, this is one of my tulip bulbs this year that started to grow, and then nothing happened. Got some nice green shoots coming out of it, and then all of a sudden there was nothing, and I went to it and the whole thing collapsed, and you can see there is one root left, that wee bit there. The rest of the roots are gone, completely eaten away, okay? And this is exactly what's happened. You can see some a bit of damage there on the bulb as well, and the actual living part of it, you just pulled it completely away, there was nothing left. So that's the damage that these wee guys can do in your soil, and there can be an awful lot of them, okay? If we have a wee quick look over here, I'll show you some of the damage that the adults can do on the leaves, because I found a couple in the polytunnel recently, and I was alerted to the fact that there was one in the polytunnel simply by the leaves. So the adults, that lovely big greeny coloured beetle that you see going about, this is fairly typical of vine weevil damage. Look at that leaf. You get this irregular notching eaten out of your leaves, okay? So there's a wee bit there, this is my magnolia, There's a wee bit there, that's another good bit, and there's another bit, usually it's on the edges of the leaf. Sorry, if I get that down in there you can see it there as well. So that's kind of characteristic of what they'll do. Okay, so how do we get rid of them? Well, one of the ways, as I said very quickly, is you can come out at night and you can look for the adults. Now it's very important, don't get these muddled up with black ground beetles. So pure black, no markings on it at all, gardener's friend, don't get rid of them. Vine Weevil, not gardener's friend, green stripes. Okay, so one of the things that you can use for the adults, you can buy what's known as a Vine Weevil trap. Now this is mine, there's not much left on this at all, this is just the wood part of it, but if you turn it over you can see it's got cutouts along the bottom, and what happens here is this gets filled with a gel, all these bits get filled with a gel. The Vine Weevil during the day will come and hide underneath something like this. This is ideal. The gel then covers their back and it impregnates them with a tiny little worm, and that worm basically gives them an infection and that will kill the adults. Okay, so the Steinernema carpocapsae, those are the little nematodes which will actually go down and kill the larvae, and then you've got Steinernema cruzii, which will kill the adults, and that is what you get on the adult version. Okay, so you can buy these, a little bit expensive. The other thing you can get is you can get the nematode worms themselves in a drench. Okay, so this isn't quite the right one. This one is biological fruit and veg protection, so this one actually does quite a number of different pests all in one hit, so to speak. But you will actually get Vine Weevil ones which will target specifically Vine Weevils. So these are just millions and millions of tiny parasitic little worms that live in the soil anyway. They're naturally present, and all you're doing when you do a drench like this is you're boosting the numbers that are present in your soil. There are some specific conditions that you use these in. You don't do it in bright sunlight, you don't do it when the soil is dry, so you have to make sure that your soil is moist. So for example, I come out in the evenings and do mine, that's the best time. You also have to make sure that the soil temperature is above 10 degrees. Okay, so again you're looking at April, May, and then again in September to get that double hit and interrupt that life cycle. You put those little worms into some liquid, you give it all a good mix and you agitate it up. You pop it all into a good watering can, sorry about the cockerel noises again, and you make sure that that watering can has a very coarse rose on the end of it. Don't try and use a really fine one, because then all your little worms will get jammed inside and it won't come out. And then all you would do, mix it all up in your watering can, give it all a good stir, and then just simply in the evening when it's cool, water it on and apply it. Obviously this is just water, but apply it in the evening to wet soil already. Okay, those little nematodes in that soil and in that mixture, naturally they would need water to help them move through the soil anyway, so that's what you're doing. Okay, you're making sure that the soil is wet, you're adding them into your soil. They will then go and do all their work, and they will feast off those little larvae and kill the larvae for you and basically interrupt your life cycle. Okay, so yeah, get them online, have a good read of the instructions. It's fairly straightforward and easy to do, and that will help you just get rid of another pest in a very environmentally friendly way. You're not doing any pesticides or insecticides or anything like that, and just keep a wee eye out for them. Okay, we'll speak to you soon. Bye.